Hello and welcome to the Fierce Urgency of Now in Today's Schools podcast. I am Dr. Cynthia Mama J. Johnson, a voice of hope in education, and I'm honored to be your host. Thank you as always for joining me for another episode. Now, before we jump in, let me remind you why we gathered. The Fierce Urgency of Now in Today's Schools podcast is dedicated to disrupting, interrupting, and dismantling barriers to changing student outcomes in our
Mhm.
nation's schools. Why? Because our children need us now more than ever before. So we've got to come together, meet them where they are, not leave them there, but to elevate them to a whole new level. Well, I want you to
Mm.
know today that my guest is one of those individuals that's not only meeting children, but also she's meeting the adults, the superintendents, the teachers, the administrators, and elevating everyone to a whole new level. Family, please welcome in Lupita Hinojosa. Did I get that correct? I hope I did.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you so much, Lupita, for
Hello, hello.
thank you for joining me. I'm so ecstatic to have you here. I've watched you work for years. So I told you before we came on, I'm kind of fangirling back here because when you see leaders that are out there doing the work and the representation is so important in
Yes.
today's society, especially for our children, it makes me so joyful. So I love the fact that you are doing the work and that you are doing the work every single day. So let me take a moment and tell them just a little bit more about you. First of all, Lupita Hinojosa, I want to make sure I say it
Mhm.
right, Dr. Lupita Hinojosa, first of all, is a proud Latina leader in service to public education. Now, we can stop it right there because that
Mm.
overwhelms me when she is so proud about the fact that she's working in public education, driven by the commitment. So if you're wondering, what is her why? She is driven by the commitment to student achievement. And let me show you all the different ways that she has done this throughout her years. Her resume is stellar. First of all, she is the executive success partner in Region 4 at ESC in Houston, Texas. She is the retired superintendent of schools in Spring Independent School District. She is the former chief of innovation and equity, also in Spring School District. She is the former Chief Officer of School Leadership and Student Support Services in Spring. And then I'm just going to tell a little bit about her work in Houston ISD. She is the School Services Officer, Assistant Superintendent, Executive Principal, Elementary and Middle School Principal. When I say that I have someone here who is qualified, who is doing the work, who has done the work for years, I could scream right now. I'm so ecstatic. No,
Thank
Peter,
you.
tell us more about who you are and what's your work that you've done for years.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Dr. Johnson, first and foremost. The opportunity to connect with educators is so very important to me. Um, and and one of the things that you said that I am super proud of is being a Latina leader.
Yeah,
I am the daughter of two immigrants.
yeah.
My parents are from Mexico. Both came down to the border town here in Texas, crossed over and met and got married. But I am first generation Mexican American. I
Yes.
actually went to elementary school. This is in deep South Texas. I was one of the first students that went to my elementary school when it was desegregated in the
Oh,
third grade.
wow,
So
wow.
if you think about that, that's not too long ago.
Right,
And
right.
so what has brought me to where I'm at is my family, specifically my dad, but both my mom and dad. My mom had a second grade education.
Mm,
She talks about the little reader and you know how she was 12 years old in second grade. My dad did go to a junior college. So he had a little bit more of a formal education. But think about immigrants coming to this country, not knowing the language, not having a profession here, and having to start from the bottom up. So for them, education was super important. And
yes.
they made sure that their
Mm,
three children were well prepared every single day. They may not have known the language, but they knew the importance of
Yes.
education. So for me, being a proud Latina leader, representing my family, representing my culture, and being able to show other students and motivate them that if a little girl like me that
Mm.
went into first grade never speaking a word of English can go to the University of Texas. I don't know if you noticed this,
I
but
see
go
it. I
to
see
the
it back
University
there.
of Texas, hook 'em horns, become a bilingual teacher, a principal, and everything else that you said. What's super important to me is to be able to know that a Latina little girl, brown little girl like me, can make it to this place, then the opportunity should be available for all students.
Woo,
That's who I am.
woo.
That's who
I
I
tell you,
am.
I got to shake my tambourine on that because I'm telling you, I mean, just listening to the story, but listening to the journey, and I kept hearing in my mind, you are your ancestors' wildest dream.
Yes.
To think about
Yes.
your mother in second grade, to think about your father and how you have represented for your family and how you've carried that with you. See, people
Mhm.
don't understand when people to say, tell me about your story. It's like, oh, you don't know about my story, and what I'm carrying. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
I tell people I carry the fact that my parents had to be bused 60 miles a day to go to school because of the
Mhm.
color of their skin. So when I talk about my story and I'm listening to your story, oh my gosh, can you just
Mhm.
imagine if everyone took time to really understand each other's story and where you're coming from, and most importantly, where you're going? But look at the plans, whew,
Mhm.
that you have exhibited for your life. You drew up a blueprint of success and
Mhm.
said, I want to go do this and I want to go do that. Talk to me.
Well, and one of the things, and I see it on the back on your back board, one of the word that drives me is the word hope. And my dad always said, you may not know the language, you may
Right.
not have these opportunities, but
Yeah.
you have to have hope.
Yes.
And for me, I have to tell you, I did not start in education. When I went to the university,
Hmm.
I went as a pre-law major. And I went because I wanted to be an attorney. I wanted to help other families that were like me
Right.
in South Texas, just
Right.
like my
Right.
parents, the immigrants that were struggling. Well, get to the University of Texas, realize that going to school was pretty expensive, and then you had to
Yes.
go to law school. I had to figure out how to hurry up, get a degree, get out there, start working and paying my loans. The word again is hope. Dad told me, Mijita, like figure it out. What is it that you want to do and how can you make an impact? Well, I went to school, graduated with a fashion merchandising degree. Get this. Fashion merchandising, not education, and I got to work. I have to tell
Wow.
you what I came straight to Houston, started working, had a great opportunity. And then one day, one of my college friends from the University of Texas came to see me and she said, I want you to
Wow.
hear this, try to hear this the way I heard it. She's a good friend of mine, came to visit me and said, Lupita, I am doing your job. So
Hmm.
what do you mean, Babette? You're a teacher,
Uh-huh.
right? How can you be doing my job? And this was in the late 80s, early 90s. And at that time here in Houston, there was a large influx of immigrants, specifically from Mexico and Central America. Here she was, a non-English speaker that learned Spanish because she wanted to be able to teach these new immigrants coming to school. And
Right.
she said, Lupita, you need to be doing this work. She invited me one day to
Wow.
go volunteer in her classroom, and I did. We actually in corporate got paid to be volunteers. I
Okay.
went and visited her classroom. That day, I walked into a first grade bilingual classroom. Now, picture this. There's 25 little students sitting in wooden desks.
Right.
And here's the teacher that says, claps 3 times. The children all come to sit around my knees. I was sitting in this little bitty chair, and they all came and they're like looking at me. Now, I'm not a teacher. She told me, bring a book to read to them. I
Right.
brought Tom Sawyer. That's all I had. Here I am reading to them in English, and she says, stop. These children do not speak English. They only speak Spanish. So there's no way Tom Sawyer in
Right.
Spanish. So
Right.
I started telling them the story. And get this, Mama J, this is what they started doing. My hair was much longer. They started stroking my hair and they said, Maestra, maestra, su pelo es como mi mamá. Teacher, teacher, your hair is like my mom.
Oh my gosh.
Then, teacher, teacher, usted habla como mi mamá. You
Hmm.
speak like my mother. You look
Wow.
like my mother. You sound like my mother. And in that moment, I was transferred back to my very first day in first grade when I walked into this classroom and didn't know a word of English.
Right.
I was transported right back to that classroom. I left that day and said, under my breath, in a little prayer, saying, Lord, is this what I'm supposed to be
Right.
doing? Walked out, went back to work. Later that week, I got a little clipping in the mail from my friend, and it said HISD is looking for teachers. So I signed up, went, stood in a very long, long line because everybody was going to answer this call. And, in the newspaper, I was pulled out of the line and said, do you speak Spanish? I said, yes. They said, do you know how to read Spanish? I'm like, yes. Can you write? Had have forgotten, but I said, absolutely. I was taken to the front of the line.
Wow.
And in 1988, I became a bilingual teacher.
Wow.
It is about responding to the need, but it is about providing and creating hope for our children.
Woo.
I was given that, and now it's my responsibility as a teacher at that time. And
Mm.
even now, my responsibility is to provide hope that
Come
through
on.
education, you will succeed.
Mm.
Through education, you can change not only the life of that
Yes.
child, but the life of an entire family. That happened to me. And
Yes.
so my word is your word,
Yes.
hope. How can I have hope and how can I continue to give hope to others?
Yes. Lupita, I'm telling you, uh, I'm trying to hold myself together here. I'm thinking, can I
Oh,
have enough in me to be able to finish this? Because I'm telling you,
oh,
you have told the story of not just like people that look like you, but people that don't look like you, that don't walk like you or talk like you, that don't have the same texture of hair, because that's what children are looking for. And I love the fact mm, that you said it is now my responsibility,
mhm, mhm,
thinking about that first grade little girl
mhm.
and how you felt and how these children felt. And you're telling the story of Tom Sawyer. And at that particular moment, that wasn't the most important part of the story. It was the
Mm.
fact that you looked like them and you represented them and you looked like their mother and your hair was like them, and that you didn't pull away when they touched you. And and I love when you said that with hope, you can get an education, and
That's
that
right.
you can change things. That's powerful.
That is, I don't know that everyone truly understands that. We can talk about educating all children. We can talk about high quality education
Mm, mm,
and the impact on society,
right.
on the economy. But at the end of the day, education is about bringing hope.
Yes.
Now, let me tell you, my dad told me every single day when he dropped me off at school, and I'm going to say it in Spanish and then I'll translate it.
Okay.
But he used to say, Mijita, hay tres cosas que nadie te quitará: tu nombre, tu palabra y tu educación. Mijita, my little daughter, there are three things no one can ever take away from you: your name, your word,
Yeah.
and your education.
Wow.
Think about that. Think about that. That is what we do for our students every single day.
Yes.
We are their advocates. We are
Yes.
there to educate them.
Right.
We're there to create, the belief and the self-concept in
Yes.
who they are and their identity,
Right.
to give them that education that can take them to places they could never imagine.
Right.
That's our responsibility to our students
Wow.
every single day. And as educators, if we just remember that, we can transform this entire world. We can
Yes.
transform the lives of the children that are before us. And
Yes.
that's my motivation.
Hmm.
My motivation every single day is to be able to inspire children and to educate them, because through
Ooh.
education, we're going to transform their lives.
Yes.
It had testament right here with me.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
it can be done.
It can be done. And that's the beautiful part about it, is that it can be done. And when you keep hope and you really realize that you can transform someone's life, I'm that testament as well. So here we
Mhm,
are, almost, I think we may be the same age in all these years that we have worked, but we have looked at the lives that we have been able to transform, remembering
mhm.
that you were that first grade student. I was that kindergarten student. That's that picture that's back there that you see,
Yes.
that little girl back there.
Oh, I
And
see.
then,
Uh-huh.
and then I don't know if you can see the butterfly
Yes,
back
yes,
there, but the
yes.
butterfly represents transformation. And that's what my goal is to transform the lives of children and those who work with children. For them to go back and to remember in their minds where they started and how they kept things moving forward. Oh my gosh, so
Hmm,
many
hmm.
beautiful words and thoughts. I'm trying to keep myself together here. I want to ask you another question.
Yes.
You said so much to me today. If if somebody would come up to you right now and say, Lupita,
Mhm.
what is the fierce urgency of now in today's schools? What would your response be?
The urgency, my response would be the urgency in preparing educators,
Yes,
in preparing great teachers to
yes,
teach our children, in
yes,
preparing great campus leaders to be able to lead those schools,
hmm,
and superintendents and so forth. But number one is preparing great teachers,
yes,
whether it's at the university level, whether it's through alternative programs,
yes,
whether it's at the campus level. It's
yes,
our responsibility to prepare those teachers, because those teachers are the ones that are going to inspire and educate
yes,
our students. The
yes.
urgency is preparing the teachers and then supporting them.
Come
I don't
on.
think that people understand the support that teachers need every single day in the classroom. It
Yes,
could be as simple as in the morning saying you're great, you're doing a great job, bringing them the materials that they need, supporting them with bringing in resources. But
yes,
it is the teacher, and
yes,
the urgency is for us to prepare, cultivate, support, and retain
Yes.
those teachers in the
Woo.
classroom.
I love it. Prepare, cultivate, and support the teachers in the
Yes,
classroom because the
yes,
teachers are
yes.
the ones that's on the front lines.
That is
And, and,
absolutely the
and if
truth.
our teachers are not supported and if we're not showing them how to grow, and when you talked about cultivate, that's one of my words I love because I think about my grandfather and when he would go in and he would plant his garden each spring and how he would take that rainwater because we couldn't afford to run water and water the plants. So he would have a big container out there gathering the water when it would rain. And he would take those buckets out there and he would water those plants. But how he was helping those plants grow, how he would move the weeds out of the way so they could that green bean plant or that tomato plant or that Swiss charge or those collard greens, whatever it was, he was a master at cultivating and helping those plants grow. And that's what we have to do. That's what our responsibility is. Like I said, preparing those teachers, but also preparing those administrators. I remember
Yeah.
back in the day when I went into administration, I'm thinking,
Oh,
oh, I had faith. And I'm thinking, whoa, I'm glad I had a strong Christian background that I knew how to stand on prayer and faith. Because if I hadn't had that, I sure enough didn't learn enough to do my work.
I
And
hear you. I hear
oh
you.
my gosh, and things would come up. And for me, not only was I just at a beginning administrator, but I became an administrator at the school that in
Mm.
1950, my parents couldn't even walk in front of. So here they were, bused 60 miles a day. And then the other high school across town, they couldn't even walk in
Wow.
front of it. And here I am in 1997 walking in as an administrator. I used to have people come in just to see me in the office. And people that didn't look like me. They just wanted to see, is she really in the office? I am here. And I'm here
Wow.
to stay until it's time to go. So I understand, like I said, we've got to cultivate, we've got to support, we've got to ensure that our students grow, that our teachers grow, and our administrators
Yes.
grow. I love that. I love that.
Yes.
So I want to
Yes.
ask you this question because I feel this is in you right now. If somebody were to ask you, what are you willing right now to disrupt, interrupt, and dismantle to ensure that children have access and opportunities to thrive, what would it be? Disrupt, interrupt, and dismantle.
Well, it's going to be our teacher preparation programs.
Okay.
Again, whether it's at the university level, whether
Yeah.
it's through the alternative certification programs, we've got to stop
Yeah.
and look what is happening in our classrooms.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
really understand what's happening in our classrooms, be able to talk to the teachers and be able to
Yes.
understand what are you comfortable with, what are you confident about, and then what are the challenges that you're having, and what are those struggles, right? And then
Uh-huh.
engineer it backwards.
Right.
Where should you have received that?
Mm.
It in the teacher preparation program? Is it in the pre-service? Is it
Right.
in the in-service? Because you've got this teacher in front of students
Right.
every single day.
Right.
That is hard work.
Yes.
You and I have done it. You know it's hard work. You've got to be prepared.
Right.
And if you don't have what you need, you stay up all night. I had all-nighters preparing lesson plans, trying to get all my things that I needed, to make
Yes.
my lessons exciting. We've got to understand what is missing and then engineer it backwards.
Yes.
Oftentimes what we do is we say, teacher, here's the book, you do
Yes.
this.
You go do it.
And that's it.
Yeah.
We don't understand the students. We don't understand the need of the teachers.
Right.
Therefore, we can give them this book and 20 other books. It's not going to be successful.
Right.
So we've got to really understand that. And once we engineer it backwards and we get those systems in place, we get those materials in place, then we bring it forward, bring it to our teachers, and then we hold everyone accountable,
Yes.
right? Now,
Yes.
because at the end of the day, it's that
Right.
child that's sitting before us that should be receiving the best quality, high quality education. So
Yes.
now we've given the teachers everything that they need. We've created all the resources, we've created the environment. Now, teachers, let's ensure this is what you're doing. We're going
Right.
to monitor it and we're going to hold you accountable. It's not about you, it's about that student.
Right.
That little girl was you and me,
Right. Right.
let's say 20 years ago, right? 20 years ago.
Okay.
But for us to be able to have been successful, we had teachers
Right.
that gave their all. I know I had amazing teachers. Now,
Yes.
it was a challenge. It was a challenge, and students have to be well prepared, right? And the
Right.
support. But the number one, we know this, research says, the number one factor that impacts student achievement
That's right.
is teachers.
That's
And
right.
so if we're going to make a difference, it
Right.
has to be there. So we have to
Right.
be willing to disrupt it. And once we
Exactly.
understand what is needed, we need to be able to be
All
all
in.
in the support, all in the resources. And then teachers, we must be all in implementing what's been given to us.
Exactly right. And I'm telling you what, Dr. John Hattie's work and talking about teacher efficacy and
Yes,
that teacher
yes.
efficacy having that greatest impact
Hmm.
on student achievement. So we have to make sure that teachers are well.
Yes,
We,
yes.
my research is on in the area of student connectedness, school connectedness, and belongingness. But over the years, I look at all the years and how it has really broadened to include
Mhm.
those teachers because those teachers have to feel like they belong.
True.
You know,
Yes.
because if they don't belong, I'm telling you, things get shut down. It doesn't make a
Hmm.
difference where it comes from, things get shut down. So I want to shift
Hmm.
gears because I want to ask you this before we go. Talk to us about, I mean, get the title of your chapter in this book
Hmm.
that you making room at the table.
Hmm. Hmm.
Tell us
Yes.
about making room at the table. I love that title, but tell us about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it's a chapter in one of the books being just published, just released last week. And this is about, what you do, what you are doing right here, right now. It is our responsibility
Yes,
as a leader. If we have the opportunity to walk into the room, or when we are in the boardroom, when we are in that conference room, it's number one, our responsibility to speak up. We
yes,
are there
yes,
already. So don't just, my dad used to say, don't just be sitting there like a bump on a log. You are now in that boardroom. You are now in that meeting.
right,
Speak
right,
and contribute. And then it is our responsibility, just what you're doing right now, is to
right,
make room at the table for
right.
specifically other women leaders.
Yes,
It's
yes,
exactly what you are doing. It's our responsibility. If I'm already in that room, if I'm already at that boardroom, my responsibility is to invite another female leader to the table, right?
yes, yes,
We grow other leaders, and I believe that's our responsibility, is to grow others, to support others, to make room for others at the table. And I'll tell you, that's not something that happens very often.
no,
That is something that you are doing through
thank
this
you,
podcast, is
thank you.
bringing others to the table. And in reality, we stand on the shoulders of others.
Yes,
Somebody opened the door for me to go into
yes,
that boardroom. And so it's my responsibility now to open it for others. And
yes,
I would say my whole career has been about that. So I've been a teacher. How can I support other teachers?
right,
I've been a principal. How do I support other principals? How do I
right,
grow other leaders?
yes,
It is about making room at the table for others. And if their success will be successful too.
yes. Oh, that is so powerful message. I wanted to make sure that we talked about your book because I actually saw you announce it
Mm,
about the chapter in the book
yeah.
on LinkedIn. So,
Yeah.
you didn't even know, you probably didn't even know that I knew about it. So, but I saw
No, I didn't.
yeah, a couple weeks ago. So I thought, oh, I've got to ask her about that question. And things.
Hmm.
So my last question that I have for you today, and let me say this, what an honor it has been to have you close out the 2025-2026 school year
Hmm.
regarding
Oh my
podcasts.
goodness.
And what a beautiful way to culminate
Hmm.
everything that people have talked
Hmm.
about, all these other guests. And I'm so honored that it was put on my heart to be able to reach out to you. But I have
Oh.
a question for you. If you had to give a call to action for
Hmm.
educators right now, what would your call to action be?
Oh my goodness. There's so much.
Yes.
My call to action, first and foremost, number one, educators, all educators, whatever position you have, number one, feel proud of who you are and
Mm,
what you do.
that's good.
You just said it, Mama J. You just said it. It's about efficacy,
Yes.
right? If we feel that we are contributing, if we
Yes.
feel good about the work we're doing, we're going to do better. So,
Yes.
number one, be proud of the work that you are doing. That's
Yes.
one. Two is hope, right? You've got to have hope.
You've
And
got to
not
have it.
everything is going to come to you.
Yes.
You may be frustrated, as a classroom teacher. Man, that principal gave me a bad evaluation, or you're a principal and you didn't get the funds that you needed to be able to hire more teachers.
Right.
It's we can all be frustrated.
Yes.
We have to have hope and we
Yes.
have to believe in ourselves and
Yes.
what we can do. Be joyful where you are at. Do
Yes.
the very best in what you have right now in that classroom, in that school, at that department, wherever you are. Be joyful,
Yes.
be grateful, and keep doing your very best. Now, don't get disappointed if you don't get that promotion, if you don't
Right.
get that recognition. Sometimes you're just being prepared for the next step. And
Yes.
and I could tell you, my career over, you see everything that I've done, and there were
Yes.
days when I felt like, oh my goodness, why am I even here? You've got to be grounded in who you
Yes.
are
Yes.
and what you are doing for children, what you are creating for tomorrow's society. So
Yes.
believe in yourself, continue to have hope, be joyful in what you are doing, and know that you're the number one person for every single student. And here in Texas, my goodness, millions of students that
Yes.
we have. So just know that you are super important for the lives of the children that you serve and their families.
Thank you so much. Now I'm laughing to myself because I'm thinking somebody's probably back there saying, uh-huh, she tried to convince her, Lupita, to say something about hope. Honestly, I did not because when you have kindred spirits, and now everybody knows that listens to my podcast knows that if I'm gonna talk about nothing else, I'm gonna talk about hope. And I have
Mhm.
been criticized for years about the fact, oh, she's talking about hope. Hope, it may not be a strategy for you, but it is a strategy for me because hope is what keeps me going, regardless of what it looks like and what it
Mhm.
feels
Mhm.
like in this world. When I have
Mhm.
hope, when I have this word right here,
There you
right there,
go.
right there, right there. I have it everywhere. When I have hope, it keeps me going. It keeps me strong. It keeps me grounded. Hope is my anchor. When the storms come, when the winds blow, when the waves become so high they almost overtake you, hope is my anchor that keeps me grounded and keeps me doing the work. And then you already know, somewhere out there in the middle of the storm, there's a lighthouse that's shining somewhere. So,
Mhm.
regardless of how dark it gets, and I'm
Mhm.
telling you, there's times in
Yes.
recent days that the world has been so dark.
Hmm.
I want to encourage all of my listeners to be a light for all the world to see. And I want you to know that if you do nothing else, have hope and always let your light shine, let it shine, let it shine. Dr. Lupita
That's right. Yes.
Hinojosa, thank you
Yes.
so much for joining me. Until we meet again, my
Again.
friend, stay strong and keep hope as your anchor.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much.
You are
Thank you.
so absolutely welcome. I loved having you today.
It's been an honor. It's been an honor to be able to share and just know absolutely hope, joy,
Yes.
joy, and keep that light shining bright and burning bright. Don't let anybody else turn it off. Don't
And
let
don't dim your light for anybody else.
don't
That's
dim
a
your
whole
light. Don't
that's a whole nother
no.
workshop and a whole nother
Yeah.
presentation.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you so much.